On this episode of Exactly How, we'll show you how to creatively structure deals using subject twos, the exact paperwork to use, the pitfalls to avoid, and the professionals you need to do your first subject two on this episode of Exactly How.
You're listening to the Exactly How podcast, where you'll hear the underground, closely guarded wealth-building secrets of successful people around the globe. Discover exactly how to improve your mental, physical, and financial health. Feel better, make more money, live, give, and prosper in today's exciting, fast-paced world filled with opportunity for those who know exactly how.
Welcome everyone to this episode where you'll discover exactly how to complete a subject to real estate investment. This allows you to control real estate without having to get a loan, so you're not taking on any risk. My name is Ross Hamilton, today's host and CEO of ConnectedInvestors.com, the world's largest network of real estate investors. And today, we're speaking with a guy who's been in real estate since 2010. Real estate investing wasn't really on his radar until his dad kind of called him up one day, asking him if he wanted to do like a father-son, let's fix and flip this house thing. This changed his entire career path. He accidentally launched himself into real estate. He decided to leave his job as an engineer and get into real estate investing full-time and has become very, very successful. His name is Jerry Stevens, and the information he's planning on sharing with you today will help you start investing in real estate using some creative deal structuring strategies that very few people know about. Jerry, thank you so very much for taking the time to speak with us.
Awesome, man. Glad to be here, man. Looking forward to having some good conversation. Hopefully people can have some good takeaways.
Yeah, we're going to jump right into it real quick. But before we do, whenever you and I were talking, you said you contribute a lot of your success to the fact you never stop educating yourself in business or anything in life. I mean, this seems a bit obvious, right? The more you learn, the more you earn. But why do you contribute that as your number one factor in your success?
You know, Ross, I learned really early on when I started real estate investing. I knew a lot about a little. And there was a whole world out there and there's still a whole world out there that I'm still learning every day. I've been, like you said, I've been doing this 9 years, and, we still come across things that, new ways, new technologies, new ways to get really, to get deals that we can structure that can help, the homeowner and help, us move, properties. And it's just, I love reading. It's just who I am. And I will probably tell anyone to always educate themselves.
Yeah, that's a great takeaway. And what's great, the people that are on this call, that really resonates with them because you're on this podcast, you're learning, right? So you're taking a great step here. And I'm really excited for everyone that's on the line. So you said, and actually I kind of share this motivation, right? You work really hard to be lazy. You said you're the hardest working lazy guy. Is it kind of, you want to set up systems that just where money just comes in and you don't have to work anymore? Or kind of explain that quote. What does that mean to you, the hardest working lazy guy?
I kind of developed, I kind of termed, if I stole it from someone, I apologize. But as long as I can remember, when I got out of college, I have always coined that term for myself because if there's work to be done, I'll be there till midnight, all night, whatever we need to do to get a deal done, to get the process implemented, whatever we need to do. But when it comes time and my staff, my employees, they're churning, that's when I can become the laziest person in the world. And I still, I'm in my 40s. I still can sleep till 1 o'clock on a Saturday if nothing's going on. But yet if there's work to do, if there's training to do, if there's education that I need to work up on, I basically like to describe it as, I have an on and off switch, and when I'm on, and when it's off, I'm completely tuned out. So yeah. I think that's what drives me to do better so that I can enjoy that downtime. Yeah.
Absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. So you're going to want to connect with Jerry after this call. Once he starts giving you all the details on what he's going to show you, you're going to want the show notes. We take everything we learn here and we put it in a very easy to consume format. Perhaps you don't have time to listen to the whole entire show. You're going to want to connect with Jerry. You're going to want the show notes. We also have some freebies that we're going to give away during this show. So I want to make sure you know how to find all that. It's all on connectedinvestors.com/how. Everything you need. connectedinvestors.com/how. In addition, you'll be entered into a weekly drawing where you'll win access to the pre-MLS. This is how anyone can find properties in any town for pennies on the dollar. The software comes complete with live trainings so we can help an active real estate investor grow or a newbie do their first deal. You're going to want to throw your name in the hat there. In just a few moments, we're actually going to announce the winner of this week's random drawing. There's still time to enter if you visit connectedinvestors.com/how. So, Jerry, the reason we're here is to explain to people exactly how to do a subject to. Before we go into any of the details there, can we just break it down to a really simple level on exactly what a subject to is?
Sure. A subject to is you will be taking the property subject to the existing mortgage. So basically, in a nutshell, that person will be deeding the property over to your entity, and then you have invested control of that property.
Okay, so you're not getting a mortgage.
No. The mortgage will stay in place in the homeowner's name, and it's not a mortgage assumption. A lot of people can sometimes confuse the two terms. You are not assuming the mortgage. If you assume the mortgage, then obviously you become responsible for that mortgage. In this situation, we've got a series of contracts, a series of negotiations that we've done with the homeowner, so that we get control of the house while still making their payments, and we coordinate that with the homeowner. We make sure that we have all of the bank statements come to our corporate address so that we can manage those. Some people use third-party servicers, which they can use as well, that pulls the payments and makes the payments for your entity if you don't want to keep that in-house. But your responsibility, at least for me, I feel responsible for the homeowners. Once we agree to this, that that mortgage will be paid, they will be taken care of, as well as our interest in that property.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So let's pretend that payments weren't made on the mortgage. It doesn't affect your credit as the investor. It would affect the homeowner's credit. They still have the legal and the credit obligation to make sure those payments are made, but you're able to control the property without having to assume any of the liability. And in a nutshell, that's what we're talking about here.
Exactly. You could, unfortunately, it does open up a scenario where you could not make those payments, which would not affect you or your company, but it would affect the homeowner.
Yeah.
So yes, but it does allow you control of the property. And I like to say this, whether it's a correct reference or not, I like to say that homeowner is essentially acting almost like a bank for our company. We're just making those payments and they hold the note and we just move along in that scenario.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's definitely pretty cool. And this is why I wanted to bring Jerry on the line here, because it's a fantastic way for you to get into real estate with low risk and low capital that you need to bring to the table. So let's now that we know what a subject to is, I'm going to throw you in the spot here, Jerry. You mentioned some paperwork. Would you mind sharing some of the paperwork we use just as samples for our people so they can see the homeowner disclosure type paperwork you use?
Yes, I can go over them, and if you want to, we can drop them in a drive or something for the.
Okay, great. I'll make sure everyone that's on connectedinvestors.com/how to where you have the paperwork. This is sample paperwork, okay? You need to make sure that you cross your T's and dot your own I's, but it's a really good starting point so you can see how to keep your butt out of hot water as you're doing this very creative technique in the real estate investing space. So, subject twos, they're great. I personally made my first $1 million on subject twos, which is why I'm really excited for this to be our first Exactly How podcast. This allowed me to get into real estate with just one equity line. And I was able to turn an equity line into 5 houses and then 10 houses and then 20 houses, then 50 houses because I was doing all these creative subject to deals. There was way less friction. So this works. Jerry, when was the last time you did a subject to deal?
Last week. We probably get one or two. Well, sometimes actually this past month we were on target for about 5.
Okay.
A month.
I just want our listeners to know that this is working today, right? This isn't something Jerry did in 2010. This works in down markets very, very well. And it works, and Jerry's proof that it even works in a hot market. So we know what subject twos are. Jerry, why don't you just kind of outline the high level steps to complete a subject two?
Absolutely. The first thing I want to say, just kind of like you kind of said, please get with your accountant, please get with your attorney. My paperwork may not work in your state. There may be different terminology. So like Ross said, please.
This is sample.
Exactly. This is a sample.
Put the word sample across it so everyone knows.
Please. So one of the first things I tell anybody is go find your attorney, or go to your attorney and go to your insurance agent. The reason why is your attorney needs to be spot on with your contracts. With these samples, take them to your attorney, go look over them. Make sure your attorney understands what these subject twos are, because you want to make sure that the attorney can guide you through this process. The second thing is the insurance. You want to maintain, you have equitable interest in this property now. So you definitely want to make sure that your insurance agent understands what you're doing and how you're doing it. Because that's crucial, because if you don't get yourself as an added insurer and you make changes to the property, all of a sudden you've accumulated $60,000, $70,000 in equity of the property. Fire happens, you've lost all that equity. But to circle back, subject twos are not as difficult as a lot of people feel. There's just a little bit of mystery around them. But the first document that we have is pretty much a traditional real estate contract. It is just an offer to purchase where we reference the loan, and you'll see that in the sample contract. We make sure there's about 4 or 5 loans. Don't put me on the spot. There's about 2 balloons and arms and stuff like that you definitely want to stay away from. Typically, there are certain there are some certain scenarios that you wouldn't, but you begin with an offer to purchase contract. You put that information in there. Another piece of our contract that we have is a due on sale acknowledgement agreement. That just makes the homeowner aware that and I haven't had it, and I don't know anyone who has had this happen, but the banks do have in their mortgage, they have a mortgage clause that allows them.
Jerry, you're breaking
up. At any time. We just like to remind.
You were breaking up a little bit there, but the due on sale, a bank can call a note due when it transfers ownership.
Okay. Yes, absolutely.
Almost never ever happens. All my subject twos never happened. If you're making payments, no one looks at it. So Jerry, what I have for the first few steps on exactly how to do a subject two is you're going to want to talk with your professionals, your attorney, and an insurer that's able to insure these, because you don't want to miss that. Now you've been diving in a lot to the paperwork, so it sounds like you need to make sure you have your paperwork lined up to be able to do this, because you have to explain what a subject to is to the homeowner.
Absolutely, absolutely, and we, there's a lot of scenarios, and I want to tell a lot of people, that are just starting out in real estate investing, that it's going to be, you're not always going to find these deals with people who have a lot, that like it's not going to be your typical wholesale deal. It's going to be a step beyond that, where you can't, they don't have enough equity in the property where you can't, offer them, 50, 60 cents on the dollar. So, don't forget when you're pulling data, to not avoid those people who have a little bit of low equity in their property, because that might be a great situation, which is typically the situations that we pick them up, are people who are no longer living in the properties. They've moved away and they just can't handle it anymore. But going back to the paperwork, obviously, yes, the due on sale clause, you definitely want to make sure that you have that along with your original contract.
And Jerry, I want to jump back. I'm going to go into each of these steps in a little more detail.
Sure.
But just after the paperwork's all set up, you have the professionals, you have the paperwork in place. what's kind of your next step in completing one of these subject to deals?
Once we have the paperwork in place, are we, okay, I just want to make sure I understand the scenario here. Are we talking to the homeowner? Have we got the contract? Or where are we at?
So you said, hey, I want to do subject to investing. I got the professionals. I got the paperwork. I understand what this is. Now, what do I do?
Okay. Well, basically, it's no different than your typical marketing that you do for your wholesaling. You know, you skip trace people, you call them, you mail.
You find the motivated sellers.
Absolutely. You find the motivated sellers. A lot of times the subject twos are going to be non-owner occupants. They're not going to live in the home. Now we do pick up one or two here and there where the people are in a situation where they have to move and they don't, want to deal with the property. But when we go talk to these individuals, we listen to them. And as a real estate investor, we look at it, I look at it, my team looks at it, my acquisitions managers look at it as we're problem solving. So we listen to a person's situation and we apply what best fits that individual. And in these situations that we're talking about, a subject to, we let them know this is a program that we have. We offer this solution to people who are in your same situation, and it affords them to just walk away from the property. And we literally tell them that, say, listen, pack whatever you want. If it's a bag of clothes, that's fine. We'll take over the property and, we'll keep you updated as much or as little as you want. Sometimes the contracts are structured depending on each individual seller's needs. But it's not going to be for everybody. Some people are nervous. Some people, which is fine. That's why I want to say, do what's right. Be honest with these people. Don't hide anything, and they will draw to it and understand it a lot better if you just are fully open. And you'd be surprised; they just start coming right to that.
Great. So the listening is important. Jerry, can we do just a quick roll call, right? Just pretend, call me up. I have a house that is, it's a 200,000, it's worth 200,000. I'm in it for 175. I haven't made a payment in a little while and I already moved out of the property.
Okay. So typically,
hello?
I'm on the phone. All right, Ross. Yeah. So obviously, you just kind of gave me the whole scenario. So I'm talking to you. Some of my questions would be, I obviously I'm going to ask, what's your mortgage like? Who is it?
Yeah,
with?
I have I got a mortgage a few years ago, and I put 10% down, and it's about a 4% mortgage, just a standard mortgage. There's no balloon or anything on it.
Oh, cool. Okay. So, so what is your monthly payments on that full time, escrow, everything, taxes, insurance?
About $1,300.
Okay. It's about $1,300. Okay. I'm going to back out of this conversation real quick so people can understand why I'm going to ask this. One of my next questions, not my next question, but before my acquisitions managers and my team goes on these appointments, they know what their cash offer is going to be at a wholesale price, and they know what the area is going to rent for. There's many things that they do before they go on an appointment, but that's the two things. The leads manager has gotten some of this information before we go on the appointment that they already have the ammo for. Gotcha. So going back to our conversation, you said $1,300 was your mortgage, Ross? Your monthly payment on your mortgage? Yeah,
$1,300.
Okay, so we've done our research, and so we already know $1,650 is what rents go for in that area. So I'm immediately going to say, okay, Ross, we have a model for you. Back in, back out. Our model is at least a $250 spread each month. Mm-hmm. So coming back into the conversation, I would say, okay, Ross, that's good. Understand your situation. We have a program that will allow you to just walk away from the property, and we take over your mortgage payments. And basically, you are covered, that we will make that payment. We go a step further. I know some people who don't. We go a step further, Ross, and we will put an extra deed in escrow so that if something happened to my company overnight, I got hit by a train, that property gets deeded back to you, whether that's
Oh, that's
6
great.
months
Thank
from
you.
now or 6 years from now. The reason why we do that is to protect you. And the only downside or upside of that is the upside, which is I've only given you more equity in a property.
Yeah.
If something were to happen to me. So we put that safety measure in there, Ross, so that you are protected if something happened to this company.
Great.
Other than that, we are responsible for that mortgage per our contract.
And that makes, stepping out of the role of the homeowner here, that solves a real problem because there's not really enough equity. If I were to call a real estate agent up, after I move all my stuff out of there, cover the agent fee, I'm going to have to bring money to the closing table. So
Absolutely.
now I can just give my property to Jerry. He'll make it look nice. Maybe you'll make up the back payments. I would imagine you'd have to do that.
Absolutely.
And then, hey, if I'm lucky, Jerry gets hit by a bus in 15 years and I get my property back with tons of equity in it. So now some of the callers, the listeners here are probably getting a better understanding on why someone would pitch that and how Jerry is able to do deals with slimmer margins.
Mm-hmm.
Because it wouldn't make sense to go buy that property for $175,000, right? It's just, there's only a little bit of equity in there. It's just not going to make sense. But if you're making $300-$400 a month, cash flow on that property, prices are appreciating. It makes a lot of sense to get in the middle of that deal. So there's less people there and less complications. Jerry, it sounds like the only thing you have to do is convince the homeowner that you are going to do what you say you're going to do. And putting that deed in escrow, it gave me a lot of assurance that you're really looking out for me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And like I said, I pride myself in our company being honest, and my team being honest with people, being very transparent, keeping them up to date. We had one of my first subject twos. I just want to say one of my first subject twos we did years ago.
Hey, Jerry, can I jump in? Can I jump in real quick before you share this story? I just want to announce the winner of the software from the last drawing.
Okay.
Okay. So the winner of the pre-MLS software, which actually gives you access to all of these people that would be interested in doing a subject to, people who are behind on their payments, they're in pre-foreclosure, foreclosure, vacant, out-of-town owners. You heard Jerry mention he likes to target out-of-town owners because they've already walked away from the house. It's a $3,000 software. And this week's winner is Dean Michael. Dean, you just want access to the pre-MLS. We're going to go ahead and reach out to you and get you all set up. Congratulations, Dean. Okay. Jerry, again, you're an honest company. You go above and beyond. Tell me about that deal.
Well, first, boom, way to go, Dean. That's awesome. You're going to enjoy the software. So, like I was saying, honesty, transparency, and we tell people, look at our reviews, go to our website, do all these things, talk to our attorneys. We want you to be comfortable with this. We don't want you to have any uneasiness about this. But going back to one of my first subject to deals that we did, the guy we live, I work in a near a military area, which has a lot of people coming in and out, which those are some areas that we do pick up a lot of our subject twos. So I'm an ex-military. I'm a disabled vet, so I enjoy working with these guys. And we had this guy's property for about 6 years, and a few weeks ago,
oh no, you're breaking up, Jerry.
I was going to sell it. We cashed. Oh, man. Okay, sorry about that.
You're good. No, you're good. You were just getting to a good part of the story.
Okay.
So you were thinking about selling it after holding it for 6 years.
Yeah, we held it for 6 years. I was thinking about selling it, and I'm going to be honest. One of the reasons I decided to sell it was the guy that I got it from. I'd kind of become, I wouldn't say friends, but we would chat every once in a while. He would check in, and I would update him. But he got out of the military. He started college, and he was getting ready to graduate this year. And I said, you know what? There's plenty of equity that I've got in this property. I want to do something. So I called him up, and I said, hey, man, just wanted to let you know we're closing in 3 days on your property. And when you get out of college, enjoy, do whatever you want to do. we'll keep these, we'll schedule sometimes, 5-year terms on them. Some of them we schedule a life term. This one we had scheduled a lifetime term of the mortgage. But I just, we don't do all of those. We don't stay in contact. Some people, they don't stay in contact unless something happens.
Yeah.
But for this guy, I just kind of, it just made me feel really good that we helped him in a situation that he really needed help. And then we turned around 6 years later and really, we had both, it was a win-win situation for both.
Awesome. Yeah, that's, you saved his, his credit if you had to sell it real quick. I mean, the people that you meet when you do this business, enjoy that part of it. Don't look at the people just as, an obstacle in the way between you and that big check. If you held it for 6 years in that market, Jerry, I'm sure you did very, very well on that. So that's a great testament to, being a real estate investor. You get to really help people in a lot of different ways. So we talked about the professionals you need, the paperwork that you need, which thank you so much for allowing us to give away. connectedinvestors.com/how. You want to go ahead and grab that and save it, even if you're not ready to do a subject to now. That is a very, very nice gift. So thank you so much. And you can also, right inside Connected Investors, if you just type in Connected Investors, exactly how subject to in Google, you'll probably find a thread that myself and Jerry are on to where you can kind of ask more detailed questions, and real estate investing pros will help answer some of your questions pretty quickly. To be honest, the Connected Investors Forum is very active. So that's what takes this show. You learn something, you get excited, and other podcasts don't have this whole other component, this whole other social network like Connected Investors, to where it's nothing but real estate investors in there helping you out. So finding the motivated sellers, Jerry, I know you are a wizard at that. Could we have you back at a future date to maybe you can share some of your acquisition strategies with us?
Absolutely.
Good.
This is a very data-driven business, and I love speaking about it, helping people. So absolutely, anytime, love to hop back on.
Well, thanks for sharing exactly how to do a subject to. It is a very creative way to get in and grab deals that just can't be done in any other way, really. Jerry, you said you like to plug in and unplug. When you unplug, whenever we were talking, you said you love to go tropical places, anywhere that has drinks with umbrellas. Is that correct?
That's right. It's funny. I grew up I live here at a beach town, and but still, when I unplug, when that hardest working, when that lazy person kicks in, and I'm checking out, I go to a tropical island with no Wi-Fi, and because I built such a good team, they have it, they can run it, and it's just a good feeling to just. If there's an island with an umbrella drink, you'll probably eventually see me there one day.
Oh, man, I was in Puerto Rico not too long ago, and I didn't realize that's where they made the pina colada.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. The original one. Did you go to the bar?
Yeah. I think I had more pina coladas in a 2-day period than I've had in my entire life. And I was enjoying all of them. All right, Jerry, this is the rapid fire portion of the podcast here. Okay, I'm going to ask you some questions, and I just want you to go ahead and the first thing that comes to your mind. All right. So here you go. Do you get up early or stay up late?
I stay up late. I'm not a morning person.
How many hours of sleep do you get on average?
I get about 8.5, 9.
Favorite or the most recent book that you've read?
I just started rereading Traction. It's a great book for businesses.
Something that you should do less of?
Oh, wow. Something I should do less of. Oh, that's a good one. I'm sure my wife could come up with plenty. But probably I can get really OCD about numbers. I get really fixated. I run my business on KPIs. I can start doing it at 7 o'clock at night, and it's 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm still going through it. So I would think that's the one thing I probably should start slowing down a little bit.
Well, your engineering background probably something to do with that. Something you should do more of.
Something I should do more of is Honestly, photography is like my side getaway. So I love photography. I just go outside.
Photography?
Absolutely.
Great. Will people live on Mars in your lifetime?
No, but I wish so, because I would probably, if I could afford, I would probably pay to go.
So what are your plans for 2020, and what do you think your biggest bottlenecks are?
Plans for 2020 is to grow and actually expand into a few more markets. And what was the second part of that question?
Biggest bottlenecks in doing that?
The biggest bottlenecks in growing to other markets. I think that the bottleneck, that's a very good question. There's a lot of bottlenecks, but probably the biggest bottleneck would be probably myself, my own mind, because I am much a very hands-on person.
You're breaking up a little bit there.
And to be in a remote area, to run my business from a remote area and not have boots on the ground is a little unnerving, but it's just one of those things. Just like we just discussed subject twos, you just have to go through and do it. We have expanded in some, but they are reachable for us. But we're looking to expand. So the bottleneck would be just myself and making sure overthinking it is probably, there we go. There's the summary. Sorry.
Yeah. It's paralysis by analysis.
Yes.
From someone who is a heck of an action taker. No matter what you're doing, there's always room for improvement. Jerry's the type of guy who's always learning. He found real estate essentially by accident and has built an amazing lifestyle for himself. He helps people that he meets along the way, enjoys nice long vacations. And Jerry, thank you so much for spending the time on this call. Look forward to having you back in the future.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
The Connected Investors app connects you with investors, notifies you of available properties, helps locate cash buyers, and secure private funding to close deals. Set up in seconds to become a member of the Connected Investors social network. Now you can scroll through your main feed to find cash buyers, see investment properties not available to the general public, and network with investors by adding your own comments to a thread to keep the conversation going. The Control Center is your connection to add properties to sell, start new discussions, connect with local investors, and even find private funding. The Notifications tab will keep you alerted to new investment properties and offers. You'll also find new friend requests to connect directly with the community to build your network. From the property marketplace, you'll be able to find, favorite, and make offers on investment properties. Download Connected Investors today to find, figure, fund, and flip investment properties on the go.